Do you find yourself constantly bracing for the next crisis since losing your parent? Uh, do you find yourself constantly checking more on others and more frequently? Or perhaps you notice that you're pulling away from friendships because they suddenly feel too risky. That feeling of waiting for the other shoe to drop, it's not paranoia. It's your nervous system responding to one of the most fundamental losses we can experience. And today, I want you to know that you are not alone in this. So, hi, I'm Sally, and I've worked with hundreds of grievers over 15 years, and I've discovered that one of the most profound but least discussed aspects of losing a parent is how it affects our fundamental sense of safety in the world. And so, understanding what is happening in our own bodies and our own brain after this immense loss can help us move from simply surviving to gradually rebuilding a sense of safety and security, even in a world that now feels incredibly unpredictable. So before we continue, take a moment with me. Okay, let's notice. Just take a moment, scan your body. Where in your body do you feel tension right now? Just bringing awareness to this area is the first step in rebuilding safety. So for many, we hold our tension in our shoulders. I don't do that. I actually hold my tension in my lower belly. I know it's weird, but here we are. It's my body. So, okay. From an evolutionary perspective, parents represented our first and most basic safety system. And even as adults, there's a part of our brain that registers their presence as protection from harm. And so when this primal safety bond is broken, your nervous system registers a threat to your survival. Even if you are safe in your suburban home, that's okay. Your brain also goes into hypervigilance to protect you. And your body remains in this heightened state of alertness. And your ability to feel relaxed and present becomes hard. I had one client describe it to me perfectly. She said, when my mom died, I suddenly felt exposed, like the roof had been torn off my house. And she said, I'm 42. I know it sounds strange, and I haven't lived with her for decades, but something fundamental changed in how safe I feel in the world. Man, this client described it perfectly. The physical sense of vulnerability isn't just emotional, it's neurobiological. Your body is literally responding to a threat to your survival system. So you might notice this, as we talked before, in tension in your shoulders. Or you might notice this in disrupted sleep, or like me, digestive issues. Or perhaps it's the racing heart when you think about the future. This, the second factor involves what psychologists call shattered assumptions. Most of us operate with certain beliefs about how the world works. And most of these beliefs we formed when we were young. And these beliefs help us feel secure in the world, help us navigate in this world. And so losing a parent can shatter these assumptions, and really quickly too. So it can shatter assumptions like bad things only happen to other people, not to me and my family. Or life will follow in a predictable order. Parents always die after children. Or if I'm a good person, I'll be protected from suffering. Or I have control over what happens in my life. So when these assumptions, life assumptions, are broken or even questioned, our brain begins to scramble to create new rules in order to keep us safe. And this often exhibits itself as nervousness or anxiety, or perhaps Our behaviors tend to be a little bit more controlling, or there's a persistent sense that danger is coming. And I want to acknowledge, if your loss was sudden or traumatic, this safety disruption may be even more intense. Similarly, if your relationship with your parent was super complicated, you might experience conflicting feelings of relief and fear and just feel all sorts of discombobulated. Neither of these experiences is wrong. Truly, your response to grief, to loss, is ultimately and uniquely yours. And so it makes perfect sense given what you've been through. So there's also this relationship ripple effect. I don't know what else to call it, but it's this third aspect of this safety disruption, and it affects how we relate to others. So when a parent-child bond gets severed, it often creates a ripple effect through all of our relationships. I had one person tell me, I find myself pulling away from my partner because I'm terrified of losing them too. Or I go and check on my children more often just to make sure they're breathing. I know it's excessive, but I just can't help it right now. Or I avoid getting close to new people. What's the point if they're just gonna leave? This relationship effect happens because loss has shown you the pain of attachment. Your brain is trying to protect you from future grief. Doesn't that make sense? It's hard. Grief is hard. So your brain wants to protect you from it happening in the future. And so vulnerability now feels dangerous. You feel exposed rather than feeling like you're connecting with others. So, and you're hyper aware of the fragility of all relationships. And so if this resonates with you, I invite you in the comments to share which relationships have felt most affected by your loss. But we're not just going to stay in that loss moment. How do we rebuild our sense of safety when our foundation has been shaken? Let's explore some really practical approaches that address both our nervous system and our emotional needs. So one, regulate your nervous system. It's a very simple 5-5-5 breathing technique. You breathe in for 5 counts, you hold for 5 counts, and you exhale for 5 counts. So I invite you to do it with me right now. We're just going to do it twice. So breathe in for 5, hold for 5, exhale for 5. Do it one more time. Breathe in for 5, hold for 5, exhale for 5. This signals to your body that you are safe in this moment. Even just 60 seconds, 1 minute of this type of breathing can shift your nervous system from fight or flight to rest and restore. Super simple. Okay, number 2, create environmental safety. So establish small rituals and routines that provide predictability in your day-to-day life. For example, I have a client of mine and she starts by lighting a candle every morning. And it's one of those small tea light candles. It's not big or fancy. And she just simply says her mother's name. And then she blows it out. And it's her way of connecting early on in the day. And it's a small ritual for her. I have another client who uses bullet journaling. She just 3 times a day will stop and write 3 things about where she is in her world. And that is her ritual for providing some of that grounding. Again, these don't have to be big and complicated. We're just talking about small little ways to create some of that safety in your environment. And they're not magical solutions, but they do create these moments of predictability in your day-to-day life, because our day-to-day life is full of uncertainty. So let's create some of these moments of predictability. Okay, number 3 is build a safety network. Invite 2 or 3 people who can be your safety contacts when anxiety is really, really big. And these aren't necessarily the people that you share everything with, but they are people who will respond consistently when you reach out. They're not going to try to fix you or fix your feelings, and they can simply be present with you. Sometimes a simple text exchange can be enough. I'm feeling shaky today. Someone texts back, I'm here, you're not alone. Number 4, practice gradual exposure. So slowly engage with situations that feel risky, building confidence in your ability to handle uncertainty. For example, if a social gathering is starting to feel too big, start with a 30-minute coffee with a trusted friend. It's just 30 minutes. It's just coffee. And then perhaps move to a small dinner with familiar people, 3 or 4, and eventually work up to these larger gatherings. But always prepare yourself, like have an exit plan in place of when you're going to leave, how you're going to leave, and just keep checking in with yourself. So the key here is to just slowly stretch your comfort zone without overwhelming your senses, without overwhelming yourself. Okay. Number 5. Develop a new relationship with control. Focus on what you can influence and also practice what you cannot influence. There are always things around us that we can influence, and there are always things around us we just simply cannot. So it could look like this. Perhaps we just need to sit a moment with accepting that we cannot prevent all loss. It's a truth. It's unfun, and yet knowing that we cannot prevent all loss can free us up a little bit. We can also choose how we want to respond to uncertainty. We can begin to create meaningful connections despite the risk of losing people. And we can build resilience through small daily practices. And so here are some common questions that I get. Let's address some of the questions that might be on your mind. How long will this safety disruption last? You already intuitively know this. There's no universal timeline for grief and for rebuilding safety. Many people will indicate that the acute phase of safety disruption, or like when things are the most chaotic, begins to ease in that 6 to 12 months. There's something about that 1-year anniversary where things begin to really shift. But the process of rebuilding secure foundations is always ongoing. Be patient with yourself. This is deep, deep work. It's not just getting over it or staying positive or staying strong. Okay, next question. What if my other parent is still alive and I still feel unsafe? This is completely normal. The loss of one parent triggers awareness of the vulnerability of your remaining parent. Your safety system has been activated, and it's natural to feel protective and anxious about further loss. Now, before I answer this question, I am not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. Always talk to your physicians. But a lot of people ask me, is medication helpful for this type of anxiety? And like everything else, for some people, temporary medication support can help regulate an overwhelmed nervous system. But this isn't about numbing your grief. It's about creating enough stability to do the emotional work of healing. So if this at all sounds interesting, has piqued your interest, go talk to your physicians. They are the ones who know you, who know your medical history, and can help you discern what the best step forward is. So the safety disruption you are experiencing isn't irrational. It's totally rational and normal. It's a natural response to having one of your primary safety systems removed, your parent. Your brain and body are working hard to protect you in a world that suddenly feels more dangerous, and you suddenly feel more exposed. Building a new sense of safety doesn't mean eliminating all anxiety and uncertainty. It means developing a new relationship with a world that now includes deep personal loss, while also creating moments of security within yourself and within the world around you. Remember, your capacity for feeling safe didn't come from your parent. It was nurtured by them, but it lives within you. And with time and gentle practice, you can rebuild this foundation. So if this video resonated with you, please subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell for more content on navigating grief. In the comments, I'd love to hear what's one small ritual that helps you feel more secure since your loss.